Yo, 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 what is good, chats? It's your boy, Daniel Bear, aka Natty, aka that nigga. And we're back again on stream. For one, if you weren't privy to it, I finally legitimized the second channel. The second channel is finally uploading videos. So if you missed a stream, really if you missed a stream, they're gonna be on there now. Now, not every stream is made the same. There's gonna be some stuff. I don't think I have anything from December. There may be one or two things from January. Definitely some things from March and April. Actually, everything from April more or less should be on there. Well, not now, but I'm gonna be consecutively kind of just releasing them, which really my goal, true and honest, God honest truth, is like, for instance, after today's stream, I'm gonna schedule it to go on there probably sometime later in May. And every time I stream, that's obviously gonna exist on the Twitch VODs because I'm gonna leave them there, but I'm perceiving a day when I will not leave them there, and the only way to actually catch those streams will be either on the Daniel Bear Plays channel or on some type of Patreon exclusive deal to where it will go there exclusively first, and then it'll either show up as an edited video on the main channel or as a just drop on the second channel. So the second channel is Daniel Bear Plays, and the first channel is Daniel Bear, just Daniel Bear straight. So, that's some new updates and kind of just the mode of operations here, but there's going to be more. Today we're doing the week recap and pre-cap, but for those of you who do not know what our week recap and pre-caps are, our week pre-caps are us kind of like going over what we did the week previous and what we're going to be going into the next week. Normally these are done on Sundays. The past 2 Sundays have been more of me hanging out with friends and sort of just celebrating time with other people outside of myself. So haven't done that, but what I will say though, in lieu of all that, we will get back to regular programming this upcoming Sunday. I initially had certain plans to do content this upcoming Sunday, but we'll probably push that back realistically, because right now, I'm going to be. I really finally feel the confidence to come back into my artistry, and not just in any way, but actually in the most fullest way I can possibly think, which is as myself. And what I mean by that is Daniel Bear has kind of just been on this we've been kind of on this learning grind for like the past 5 or so years. Technically 4 if you consider the music I released kind of during the pandemic, and I initially released it during the pandemic because I was working on a bunch of stuff that I just wanted to get out there, and when I dropped it I was like, okay, cool, yeah, I'm dropping music, let's go. But then I realized I wasn't at a standard of excellence that I wanted out of myself, but I felt that was kind of what was necessary because people were putting bad product, and my false assumption was I considered it bad product because I didn't like their product, but the quality of their product was solid, it just wasn't to like taste. And that was a tough reality because in my head, I'm like, just because it's not to my taste, it means it's a bad product, but it's doing numbers. And I realized even though the taste wasn't particularly the same, the quality was still up to a certain level to where it resonated. Even if it was distorting or like messing up, it was the nature of what it was doing from an artistic standpoint or from a creative standpoint or from just a limitation standpoint, and the person was just like, the idea is a vibe, so regardless of how the nature of this is, it works. Which you would think, oh, Natty, but you're right, the quality was subpar. Yes and no, because I found out quality isn't inherently just quality, but it's like, it's just the nature to it. I don't know. I really think it was just, I had the wrong idea on things. And so then you may be asking, okay, if you think you had the wrong idea of things because you seem to have proven your point in making that statement, what has changed since then? One, I have worked with a variety of artists. I've worked with a lot of different artists in a lot of different genres. And the one takeaway I definitely learned from the process was I need to improve the beginning, because as you get towards the end, you'll learn and make changes veritably so, just due to the nature of the creative process. But if you mess up in the beginning, you make it infinitely harder to fix at the end. And to be honest, at least what that translates to me as somebody who's in the creative process in all aspects of it, from beginning to the end, especially as an artist, not only as like a composer, producer, songwriter, engineer, yada yada. Of my skill sets, I'm a much better engineer than I am a producer, and I'm a much better producer than I am a songwriter. But I have finally acquired the skill set to do them all at a level that I enjoy. And that's huge for me. That's quite huge. I don't produce many, if anything, truly that I really and genuinely enjoy. And even more so, I rarely consume things that I rarely and truly enjoy. I used to have this issue where music really didn't excite me if I listened to it. And I'm thinking more and more, it's maybe not because of my prowess or my skill set, but my mindset and the way in which I perceive life and how I went about it. And so in my art, as I'm doing it constantly for over these past couple of years, now I've really gotten to a place where I'm like, there's confidence here from the hours of repetition, hours of constantly toning it's not enough, hours and hours of just, hey man, cool, but not it. And that's still gonna happen in everything that I'm gonna do. But now it's gotten to the point to where I don't care if someone says that, because I'm convinced of what it is that I'm making and what I'm singing, what I'm playing. And that's tricky, because I can still be very wrong and be far away from the goals and things that I want for myself. But at least now, as of right now, I've come to a place with it where I'm just like, yeah, I think I'm him. And if you don't think I'm him, that's understandable. At some point you might agree with me. And if you never agree with me, that doesn't affect me. That's a tough place to get to. And I still kind of struggle, because literally just a week ago, y'all remember I was kind of going through it. I think I even made a recap. Like literally you can tell, we are going to know based off of just me going through this week recap and this week's upcoming precap. You can tell, like, bro, yeah, man, you're still kind of slacking. But now it's not that I don't care, but it's that I've been reinvigorated with the drive to really commit to myself, and not just commit to others and not commit to myself. And the reason I initially did that, though, is because I had an overconfidence in self. A lot of failure can humble you in that sense. So now I'm like, okay, I failed enough and I've learned enough to where now I can confidently fail off of my own decisions without having to have the validation of another opinion, outside of doing market research and things of that nature. So, yeah. Needless to say, feeling better about things. So today's docket, if you haven't read the title already, we're going to do the week precap and recap. And then after we get done with those two, we have a couple things to get done, which is I got to officially finish those performance stems for Drugs, Fugazi, and Rager now as well. Cowboy car, I don't think I'm going to find the stems for Cowboy. And then for Iconic, I think we have a mixed version of what's it called? Iconic, that has the right verse. So I got to get that mastered, which I think I already have a mastered chain for it, but I just got to make sure it's just solid. And then we're going to put out the Nightstand EP that we've been waiting years to drop. To be honest, not really waiting, it's just been more so like, we got to a point where like, okay, this is cool, it's what we did, but we couldn't be aligned on how to just get things done. And yeah, just kind of sucked. And to be honest with you, I very, very much want to bring it back, and I think we're going to, but just in a different way. We're definitely going to bring back Nightstand in a different way. And I'm excited because, Bogus has just been grinding his ass off in this job, just taking care of his family and his kids and all the things. And me, I've just been grinding away, just learning what's out there, what's possible in this entertainment industry, what's feasible, and just what to expect from oneself, There's a lot of people who enter these creative fields just thinking purely off the passion alone that they'll be able to make it, and not with any foundational work or projects, really just putting in the time and care that these other people who go through these other methods put in the time and they care. And so, I don't know. That's just the thought I've been having in my head. Just like, okay, there's like a nature to these things. There's a structure to these things, and I wanted to learn them. But also, too, just do the stuff. You know what I mean? Do both. Do stuff and understand what systems exist. And so now I'm really just trying to just maximize all that as much as possible. So definitely, if y'all didn't know, I used to be I still am in my head, in a band called Nightstand Lamps. We just had to take a crazy long break from that project due to all the parties involved. But now I feel like we'll probably be able to come back to it and really do it the way we'd want to if we ever did. But yeah, me and Bogus, which Bogus is our leading front man, and he's finally been able to get kind of like a good foothold on his solo career. He's got a mixtape out, got a couple others in the works, just constantly working, making the records, making things, you know, living his life and writing stuff. And for me, I've kind of been doing that as well, but also just trying to figure out how to monetize my skill sets. Got into sync licensing, now just trying to get consistent placements with that. And trying to get this music out to show people I do music, because I'm pretty confident a good majority of people don't know I engineer, produce, and songwrite. And if they do, they think it's subpar, which I don't disagree with them. If they consider it subpar, then it's subpar according to their standards. So yeah, I'm just really trying to get information out there about what I do and how I do it. Obviously, I'm streaming. Y'all see this. But the thing is, it's not a lot of y'all just yet right now. Technically speaking, as of this video being streamed and recorded, it is only me on this stream. That's okay. Why is that okay? Everything starts from somewhere. Sometimes things start at zero. Honestly, sometimes things start at the negative if you really want to get into the financial world. But nevertheless, they start somewhere. Now, whether it goes lower or higher, you have some level of agency in that. And for me, I'm going to do as much as I can to just show up and put in the effort with intention of being great. Because outside of that, I really don't know what else you can really affect, if anything at all. If there's a way, let me know in the comments, in the chat, wherever it is you may be watching from. But yeah, today we're going to do that recap, and then we're going to get into just getting those files figured out. And then once we get those files figured out, we'll take a mini break, because around like before 6, just because I'm maybe expecting a call around then. And then after we take that mini break, we're going to go back into it, but we're just going to spend the rest of the evening just cooking up. We're just going to make a bunch of different ideas. I foresee us making a couple starters, maybe 1 or 2 beats, because I just got a loop pack from the dude Juice, which those who don't know, that's like Juice Shoosh. I don't know how he has it at, but I'll put it somewhere here if I do an edited video version of this. But yeah, no, we're gonna make some, maybe a beat or 2 from his loop ideas, because he makes pretty solid loop ideas. It's just a matter of kind of just creating like a cool vibe from it, something that can be written to, something that could be, you know, make for a brief or whatnot. Let's see. I also got to talk to Brandon Says, because he sent me a track that I still got to look at and really figure out. I might touch that tonight too. But yeah, the first stream for today, it's just this pre-cap and then a little bit of cleaning shop. And then after that, we're going to go lock in on music things the rest of the evening. And for those wondering, the instrumental that we're going to be hearing throughout this whole entire week pre-cap, because I think I'm actually going to keep it on as I talk, is Hand Over My Heart by your boy Fanny Bear. Right now you're listening to the instrumental version, but there is a version with lyrics. Alright. So week of April 16, Montel meeting. Awesome. Got to catch up with the boy, connect, just kind of see where his head's at, what he's doing with his music stuff. And it looks like me and Greenhouse will be kind of helping him on the publishing side, just figuring out sync licensing and placements, as well as just getting his stuff, you know, ready, mixed and mastered to go. So that's going to be exciting for him. So what's coming forward. And then I believe we did not have this meeting for Household last week, but we technically did this Monday. So I'll just consider it green in the sense of that meeting happening. I'm trying to remember if it was that Friday. Yeah, that Friday. I don't remember that being the case. Actually, no. Let's be truthful. We don't want to lie to the recap. It didn't happen, but we had one today, Monday, and kind of just where things are at with the household project. We're just kind of prepared whatever their live set is going to be and what that production is going to look like. Which I'm going to be helping with the guitar for. There's going to be a show in June that we're currently planning. Whether it happens in June or not, we're still trying to finalize. But at the simplest of case, that is the goal. And then from there, let's see, we got April 19, which I did not get to hang out with Tito actually when he came in town. The goal was Friday, but Friday I ended up having to go to the studio to just lock in on some editing work, which, to be honest, I got some decent progress on that too. I finally got kind of the aesthetic I'm going to use for my official audio, which I'm currently using AI art, which I'm not as like heavily opposed to it as other artists, because like, hey, pay artists for their work. The problem is you're paying an artist if you're commissioning an artist and you're not aligned with that artist in any way, shape, or form, one, you're probably not going to get that work done. Two, depends on how big that artist is. If that artist is like, they're doing this because they're trying to make ends meet, not because they're trying to like make something that's amazing and passionate, already the work you're going to commission or get commissioned isn't really going to be to where you might not be as proud of it as it could have been, because you might be proud of their art. Like, there's just a lot of factors there. So just simply saying just pay the artist, I see a lot of the sides to that, and ultimately people think, oh, you're on the side of capitalist, how dare you? The idea of capitalism I'm very fond of, but the only issue is, if your only knock on capitalism is human corruption, then you're going to have the same issue with every conceivable form of anything made and or conceived by human thought, because it will be corrupted by humans. So, if the ease of access to corruption is really the issue there, I don't know, kind of a problem. But that's just me. I'm probably too stupid to fathom anything else, right? Anyway, we're getting sidetracked. As far as, stuff, didn't have too much last week because we started hella late, midweek, not really a lot to accomplish. And to be honest, as far as what we got on the docket, because this week we were going to have a writing session tomorrow, that got rescheduled, so as far as things for the week, I really only think, because I'm really trying to think through kind of just what really, outside of just working on what I got going on, which that's going to be what we're going to really shift a lot of these creative goals towards, because this top half was more so anything that I have that wasn't really attached to what I got going on down here. It's just external stuff. These upcoming weeks, outside of like Mondays, Wednesdays, and the occasional Thursday, a lot of the stuff we're going to be doing can be done virtually anywhere as long as we have the computer and the screen. So, we got to figure that out. We're gonna figure out how to get that ball rolling, which is why I think a lot right now is on my plate, especially with Greenhouse, to where I really need to set for where the company's going to do, how we're going to approach things, how we're going to tackle things. Just because I haven't really done any of this, so this I'll just make orange. We did do a One Piece reaction last week, which was dope. I am not going to be editing the reaction video. We did a Marvel Rival stream because, we did a Marvel Rival stream. I don't think we streamed any other of these guys. We haven't touched any of these edits just yet, but I think that's what the next goal is, to really start getting edits done. We did not, we didn't do any art stuff, not even sketching. Very rough week. Let's see, Crate Lead General Model. Haven't done this yet, but we have the idea. Today we're doing this. We're gonna get stuff prepped for the 26th show. And then finishing tracking vocals, we're holding off on this until there'll be a surprise I have for myself for that. So at the moment, we're gonna hold off on that. And then we did not work on Gravity and learning the Breaking Benjamin song. We did work on riffs though. Right now, actually kind of working on Etude 4. By end of this week, I should have Etude 4 down and the second Etude more clearly. And I do want to make a video, I don't know about a video review, but just definitely some type of video, creative video explaining my journey with these guys. Because I might have to do them on stream. And we definitely knocked out our goal for, actually we didn't knock out our goal. This is actually the first time we didn't knock out the loops or beats goal. We only got 3 done last week. So once again, just last week in general, just not a really great week, not a productive week, just we're recovering from a lot mentally. This week though, that's the goal, is to change that. So right now, as far as what's on the docket, pretty much any possible day of the week that Household can do stuff, we'll be able to do it as long as they're available. So instead of me planning for it, I'm gonna kind of leave that up to Piper and CJ, to be honest. So kind of moving forward, week of, we'll take that case by case. This week, we're not gonna do anything for week of. Whatever happens at the studio, whenever we're there, will happen. However, we got a lot of stuff for music to get done. And this week, we're gonna say the week of April 22nd. All right. Nine. Cool. All right, so we got a lot of stuff we got to get over here. And then with art, all right, I need to be a lot harsher on myself with the art stuff, to be honest. Because like right now, I'm using AI art for the official audio, for just the loops and stuff that I'm going to be putting on my YouTube. And I really wanted to be art I make myself. But in order for me to do that, I still got to get a couple more things squared away, which I'm not mad at. I'm not mad at myself or anyone else really in particular. I'm just like, okay, this is part of the process. Also too, I got like 10 to 11 videos to be editing for Final Fantasy, and I have 1 video to be editing for Kingdom Hearts, so there's that. Let's see. Well, what? Okay. Reworking Greenhouse Pitch Deck. I'm trying to think, because I might have to put a bit more brain power into what I think I need to get done here. Because who am I pitching Greenhouse for? Why does that matter? I need to spend a dedicated day for that. Which honestly, since now that this upcoming week, which, hold on. This up and coming week, since we're not really too focused on just the other tasks at hand, the most important thing, because maybe I have to think in terms of like a priority list, right? If I were to think in terms of like a priority list, hitting the loops, or at least submitting loops and beats, is pretty important. So I should be making these every day. Should I be making 4 to 5 every day? Don't know, but I should be making them every day. Guitar performance, I should be playing guitar every day. I should be working on guitar every day. Vocal tracking, we're not going to be so harsh on this right now, but I'm still going to leave that on there. Something that has to get done. Bogus the Kid task. Also too, I didn't even put it on here, but workshop ideas for new Brandon idea. I do have to workshop some ideas on that track he sent me, so I'll definitely get to that. And then my goal as far as mixing is I should be able to be mixing 16 records a month for a week. Which, yeah, that's a good workflow of mixing and mastering. I should be able to master 20 records a week. No. At least if I want to hit 4K. If I want to hit 4K a month, I need to be doing 20 mastering, 80 records a week, or mixing 16 records a month. 16 records a month would be nice, but mixing is more tasking work. 80 records a month, 20 a week, $50 per master, not too bad. Especially now that, like, you know, some people can get AI to master stuff, or they can get a human being to master stuff. If you're gonna get a human being to master your stuff, get it to somebody who's, you know, got the equipment, got the space. Do I have the equipment and the space? Technically speaking, I have the space, but to be honest, even then the space is not optimized for mastering. It's more so for production and mixing. So mixing may be more of a focus than mastering, but then if it's a mixing, you know what I mean? Could be putting in more mental work. So I probably want to limit myself to not mixing band music, but like electronic music, modern production, because band music is modern production, don't get it twisted, but at the same point too, it's like if you have a band in your hands, everyone's gonna be, or you would assume everyone to be specialized in their instrument, so they're gonna want to like really go into it and have like a true traditional producer who's like, hey, I'll make your guitar sound awesome, your bass sound awesome. If you got keys, we have either your synths or I have a crazy ton of patches for certain synths. Like, whenever I just think band, I just think if you're not analog in any way, shape, or form, the band's better off just learning their skill set and doing it. But also too, there's such a large skill set with mixing and production as a whole. You might want to offload all those responsibilities and that perspective to another human being for a band's case. In which case, I could do bands. And there's always going to be bands because human beings are going to want to make music all the time. Especially now with the more corporate, like, you know, the more individualization of music. Some people want to have their music with people. Look at K-pop. So, I don't know. There's just a lot there. But at the very simplest, 60 records a month. And I just need to finalize my lead generation model, which really it's how are you going to acquire customers? How are you going to do outreach? And what's going to be that expectation of outreach? Which, you know, I have to set a standard by reaching a point, but what am I capable of right now? I used to make like 20, 30, 40 calls a day damn near whenever I was doing a call job. So in my head, it's figuring out, okay, who am I reaching out to and how am I reaching out to them? And so it could just be taking a day to take catalog of what potential clientele might be, which I put IGDMs, artist management emails, A&R emails, and indie labels. So honestly, what I can do is start with an Excel sheet. So there's an action step here already that I think we can take, which is action step, organize contacts, right? That'd probably be the simplest thing, organize contacts. And then after we figure organize contacts, then how to track contacts. And after you figure out how to track contacts, put in the work to contact leads. But in my limited knowledge right now, that's the main thing. Organize contacts. So like, who, like, is this an artist manager? This is an A&R? Is this a label? Is this the actual artist themselves? So like direct, like figure out that modality. And then once you get that, how do we track this? So like, let's say, okay, cool. Today we're going to be reaching out to artist management heads or video production companies. All right, and then once we go from there, we sent this email was sent, no response or response. And then if there is a response, you know, what qualifies the next tier? Like, what is that sales process to, you know, getting a deal done? Well, if we get a response but they're not interested, that means not interested. But what if we get a response and it's not that they're not interested, but they continue the conversation, you get on a call? So we can look at it as, response, call or meeting, and then close. That's a simple organization I can think of just what it is. As we do the process, or at least as I do the process, I'll learn more what a close actually looks like, or whether or not it's like, hey, response, call, meeting, do something, call, meeting, then close. But if I'm being honest, I don't want to have another meeting with somebody. If I have one meeting with you, I want the decision then and there. If we do not have the decision then and there, I'm moving on. I could care less. You could be the God of all of my problems. You could be the God of all things. You can be an overwhelming universal existence that matters most to me than anything. You can be the most loving human being that loves me more than anybody else. But if we cannot get that deal done, or we cannot figure out some sort of agreement to where we can move forward and actually have an action step that you have to do and I have to do, and then we come into that next meeting with both parties having done their work, at which both things need to happen, or at the very least having some form of like, hey, send me the invoice, and then from there we go. Move on. Is that harsh? Is that cruel? Is that not realistic? It's very unrealistic, but that's what I want out of it. So that's what I'm gonna do. And which is more than likely going to increase the amount of people I'm going to have to talk to, which sucks. But I just don't want to have a back and forth. No one is important enough for me to have a back and forth unless you're my family member or a very close friend whose opinion not only matters but means more than the world to me. So, I don't know. At least that's where I'm at. And please, if I'm in a messed up place for that, let me know. Let me know. That would be really dope. Put in the work, contact, leads. Yeah, that's really all I can really put in on there. Which I even put that here, how do you track this? So we're just gonna start with what we think, and then this is the goal. And then with art, okay. 1 minute gesture drawings 3 times a week, I think is doable. I should be doing them every day, but I need to figure this out. This is a long-term goal, and then background studies. Yeah, I really got to figure out, I got to get into how to really unlock that, which simply put, it could be shapes and perspective is a simple way to go about this. Just because, okay, if I can at least set up a one point perspective scene, a 2 point perspective scene, and then just use blocks for what would otherwise be other objects, I can at the very least train my brain to start orienting things in such a way. And I know with the dynamic sketching, actually that's probably what I should put in here. Dynamic sketching by Peter Hahn. That is one book I have a good feeling that it will help me figure this thing out. Cool. Sorry, I had to just hit. Bogus just sent a text about something, which I rarely respond on time, but now that I'm not focused on something else or on my existential crisis of how I'm not the average human being and not a piece of shit. Which, to be fair, I think I am. But not in like a bad way. Like in a, oh, that's why I did that, that's why I did this, huh. My actions are showing me I'm not a great person. Do I change that? Why should I change that? Well, you'd want to be a great person. Yeah, but what I'm learning through just studying history and just human existence, the only person that apparently was great, that wasn't a bad person, at least from my accounts, is Jesus. Every other human being that's considered great has some drastic flaw. So do I feel bad about being a bad person? Well, according to Jesus, I can be a good person. It's possible. Not by my own merit. But then, let's say I don't believe in his claims. Why would I believe good people exist? Well, apparently there are some good people that exist. You know, some would say Mother Teresa, or whatever the case may be. But then, who's to say that she didn't do certain things that would be otherwise terrible? Just not as bad as other people, right? So we just don't pick people who are as bad as others. I'm getting on a tirade. Anyway, point is, I don't think I'm a great person. And I don't think anybody else should think they're a great person. And if you do think you're a great person, typically that lets me know you're either mentally off your rocker, which, who is on the rocker? What does on the rocker look like? Let's have a clear definition of that. But then on top of that, why would that even matter? I don't know. I do not know, my friends. I do not know. Alrighty. So it looks like we got what this week's gonna go for. And today, we're gonna focus on music. Tomorrow, it's Wednesday and we're gonna have to go to the studio. See, what can we focus on Wednesday? Because I feel every evening, regardless, we can stream something if you want to, but right now I don't think streaming games is my goal. Editing these things will be my goal for gaming. So with gaming, even though usually that's kind of like my wind down and like my kind of, oh, you know, I get to kind of calm down or whatever, come down from this, we are going to hold off on that, or at least hold off on this. Maybe not One Piece reaction. One Piece reaction, we're definitely doing that. That's just, it's One Piece. We're reacting to One Piece. Could care less what you think. But this other stuff, even with Marvel Rivals, like in order to maintain your ranked, you have to like play ranked often. I'm not the kind of guy to just mindlessly do it. I know that whenever I play video games a lot, there's usually something that maybe I'm avoiding or not addressing outside of just pure enjoyment of the fact. So yeah, like right now, Marvel Rivals is a good go-to. Maple Story, our Brody Rod is like goated in this, so he's still grinding Maple Story, figuring that out. I want to come back to it, but just the grind of it's really what tilts me. Fortnite, that's usually whenever I'm playing with Vel. I should get into a rhythm of it outside, but really I feel like Fortnite content is kind of like one of our bonding kind of moments too. Just when we just get to hang out and just kind of chill and do stuff. So Fortnite more or less will probably just be whenever it's either going to be a me and Vel collab or somebody, like a group thing. It's not going to be just a me thing. And that's probably going to be the fact for both of these. Monster Hunter Wilds, I honestly just haven't played it yet because it hasn't been the way for me at the moment. There's an update, there's some new monsters to hunt, and I did play it a little while back, but it's just not, I'm not in the season of this right now. Not in the season of this. I do need I probably will be though. Now that I think about it, I'll probably be more active on Monster Hunter once all the business stuff for like Fanny gets sorted out, which we're gonna be focusing on some of that here in a second. But yeah, not too much on this. More on this. This needs to get done. Education. I might use Friday for this, just because Friday is the day where like no one's really in the studio, so I can just calmly just get shit done. And just not have to worry about like stepping out and just doing something separate. Which in general, I could still do that now. It's just, it's different. Like I definitely, yeah, I get how things could be a distractor. Alright, so bogus, tests, and prep. So right now, let's focus on finding performance stats for Drugs and Fugazi. Alright. So I'm gonna be going through a lot of just files that I can't really have public. So we're gonna be on this screen. So this is kind of where the busy work begins. But it's okay though. I'm gonna be playing this instrumental over all of it, which it might annoy some of y'all. And if it does, that's good. That means I'm causing an emotional reaction within you from my music. Not a great one, but something. Because it's better than apathy. Now, the moment you stop caring about it and not, liking it, that means you don't like it. It's still an emotion. Honestly, I just don't care as long as you have an opinion on my music, to be honest. Yeah, so we're gonna run it. Okay. So let's look for the boy drugs first. So a lot of that nightstand stuff is here in the old nightstand folder, which is in music projects. Open a new tab. Scroll all the way down to nightstand, or in this case NSL. Alright, let's see. Okay. Okay. Let me hear this actually real quick. Okay, so that's the old version, Mix V3. So I need to figure out that for Iconic. In the meantime though, let's go to Performance Track. Fugazi. I don't think we had 11. I was about to say, I don't think we had 11 for this. I think we did this shit on 10. Yeah, we did. Peace Trees, Never Knows Best, Bum Bum. Dang, that was like the old first setup. Hold up now. So, okay, let's see. Lovely. This is what I was looking for. Okay. We have Faded. We have Fugazi. We got Rager, Fugazi, so I just need drugs. Cool. Awesome. So I can already check off just Fugazi. Technically, Rager should have been on there. Dope. I just need to get drugs. Alrighty, so real quick, I am going to mute Over My Heart super quick, and I'm going to listen to these performance tracks because I got Fugazi instrumental, then I got Fugazi with background vocals. So I want to hear Fugazi with background vocals real quick. Honestly, Fugazi is one of those records we kept the drums in, so what I'm gonna do, even though I know I can get them bitches all done right, I'm gonna just take each one of these open touring ideas. So he's got Therapy, Henny Lemonade, Hallelujah, Drugs, Fugazi, and Rager. Okay, so first we're just gonna focus on Drugs and Fugazi. Mm-hmm. 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 And yes, Jeff, that's all I'm going to say if we're going to ask for more commentary, because there's not much else to be said. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Thinking out loud. Thinking out loud. Alright. Okay, I know what I need to do. I know what I need to do. I need to use this guy. So since this is going to be... I need to split it up into the different stems, because it's going to be... Even though I could use the drugs from this one, I'm still going to go into the stems, because I honestly think I can just do a better job anyway. So first, let's delete all the ASD. Well, actually, the ASD files want to make it load faster. Who knows? Where? Let's get all these vocals though, real quick. Alright. So real quick, we're gonna start with rename Fugazi, and I'm gonna leave about 4 measures before that. Cool. Gonna leave it on every bar. We're gonna start with 148. Alright, now that we have 148 as the set tempo, we're gonna drag in all the stems for our Fugazi. Okay, so you didn't want to drag and drop then? Fine. Try that again. Okay, let's try this again. There we go. Alright, now that we got Fugazi in here, Fugazi starts and then Fugazi ends right there on the stems. And Next up, we're gonna do Rager. Which Rager will start right here. We'll add a locator right there. Cool. Now from Rager moving forward, add value. What is Rager's tempo? Rager's tempo is 127 BPM. So what we're gonna do, and actually, you know what I can show y'all, because I realize I don't necessarily have to show y'all all the things, but what I can show you is my session prep. So to go over here, gonna mute this guy, and at least you'll be able to see my session prepping, which, I mean, it's better than not. Which I don't think I need anything on that left menu at all, so I can actually, what's this? Yeah, I can just close this. And just so y'all can kind of see what I've already done so far, I gave like 4 bars of space in the beginning, just because, for whatever reason, I've just learned to just leave space in the beginning. If you can leave space in the beginning, leave space in the beginning. Just learn that. So these are all the stems for Fugazi. I have not mixed it down yet, but just right now what I'm doing is just transferring files into the set to have them prepped. And so I have Fugazi at 148 BPM, so notice right here, I don't even know if you can see that. Let me see, can y'all see that on there? Let me double check, because normally I have this stream on my phone to like see what y'all see, but I've been so locked in that I did not do that. Which, that's another SOP thing I gotta do too for my streams. Like whenever I turn on a stream, I always have second monitor. Which I think the habit of me not doing that is because I've come complacent with not having more than 1 or 2 viewers at any given time. Yeah, you can see that. It's just relatively small. But yeah, down there it just says 148, and so I just go on the automation curve on Ableton on the master bus, and then, you know, I have these locators to let me know when Fugazi begins and when it ends, which is relatively irrelevant in terms of me sending out stems for like a DJ to deal with, but whenever you're managing your own set and things of that nature, that's actually quite important. Alright, so we go from 148, and I'm using these in between 4 bars to switch the BPM to then get right to 128, which, to be honest, I'm going to do a second one here so that I can just do a hard transition to 128. It's 7 there. Double check to make sure it's 127. It is, in fact, 127. Alright, cool. All these are wave, cool. So I can just go all the way down there, and then just what I'm gonna do here is drag the files in. Then, as you guys can see, as I'm dragging the said file in, you can see that, and then I'm gonna hold, in this case it's window because I'm using a Windows keyboard, but you just hold, I want to say it's command on Mac, but yeah, command or window on a Windows keyboard. Actually, I did it the wrong place because I really was supposed to do it here on this meter, so I'm potentially introducing warping issues. But that's another thing too. I'm going to look here real quick. Did any of these warp? They didn't. Perfect. Which you can change that in the presets, I believe, if you're in Ableton, or you go on preferences, and then I think is it audio? No. It might be file, sample, no, record rep, long/warp short samples, auto warp long samples, off, default warp mode complex, create fades on clip edges. It's on, but I should probably turn that off. Yeah, I'm gonna just leave the loop short samples on auto. And I'm gonna leave the clip on edges, even though there may or may be a reason to have that on or off. But anyway, the reason why I undid that was because I wanted to start it when the tempo changed, and I think I did it in between. Luckily, still have the highlight. Okay, so let's go back in here. Alright, and then we want to do it like right there. And you want to keep on holding Command or Windows button so you can do that. And now that we have that for the remainder of the track, and then wherever it ends, we're going to put a locator at. Yeah, right there is decent. And then we're going to make that the Rager. And alright, so that's 2 to 3 tracks. And then I'm just going to group all that together. And since I'm going to be mixing for live, I might actually switch to the open airback headphones here in a second. Boop, boop. Let's see here. Rager. Boom, boom. All right, let's see. All right. Okay, Rager, Fugazi, Rager, and drugs. Boom. Blanked out there for a second. Alright, drugs. Right, and then we get this last guy in there. Boom zone. Magic. Alright, and then add locator there, and then that's where drugs is gonna end. Awesome. So as you can see here, my main thing whenever I'm like setting up, honestly performance stems in general in Ableton, which I forgot to change the tempo. I hate it here. I hate it here. I hate it here. Okay, let's redo that. Okay, actually let's undo what I just did there because I did like that I did that. All right, look at me forgetting my own steps. Let's do this here super quick. Boom, boom, boom. So I'm gonna like, probably right here is where I'll change the tempo. And then it should be to 130. So just edit value, 130. Now that I have that, bring that 130 like up there. Cool. Now nigga can drag and drop this bitch. Alright. Okay, rename. Awesome. All right, now we have all the tracks that we are going to be, I don't need that there. Cool, so all of them are in the proper tempos. So, first of all, that should be coming through my headphones, but audio, man, I don't have to worry about input, we're just mixing here. All right, do your thing, awesome. All right, so I don't know if y'all can hear that click. I would hope you're able to hear the click. All right. All right. Alrighty, so now that we got everything, hold up, I'm gonna make this like widescreen for me. Cool. Y'all may or may not be able to see that as well, but I just need that for me. Okay. Actually, I can probably even move the, let's see, we're gonna switch it to this guy. It's too high. That's like the gaming one. I'm just gonna keep this guy here for now. Wanted to try to see how it felt, but wasn't really feeling it. Alright, anyway. So now I'm gonna take it song by song. First I'm gonna click on save this. Collect all and save. Which, for those using Ableton, is such a crucial feature to not lose certain samples, or at the very least to have everything stored within that, like, what's it called? Stored, like, within that section, if you will. Neon Cathedral, and then I am going to save this as April 26th. All right. Let it do its thing to collect all and save that, because that is gigabytes of information. So that could take a second. Oh, yeah, you don't see that, but it's actually like loading on my end. So gotta let it take its time, and then when it takes its time, let's see, what time is it? We'll probably, because now that I got the files here, I literally just gotta mix them down, which somebody like, oh, we want to see you mix them down. I mean, it's just the same thing I would do if I was actually like just kind of mixing for live, which is make sure the full frequency spectrum is covered, and then once the full frequency spectrum is covered, make it to where there is enough space in that frequency spectrum for a vocal to be present and not fought against. So there'll be some scooping in like that 1K to 6K range, which you could go slightly lower too, but I don't want to mess with too much of the transients of everything else. But luckily, once again, it's going to be live, so like energy is going to be huge, and if you don't have live drums, you miss out on a good amount on like the full energy of what a drum track can be. So I'm not going to try and get too much of the highs out of the percussion or synths, but I do want to leave enough to where it's like the vocal can really be present above and audible. And then from there, it's really up to the front of house guys, which to my knowledge, if it's the venue I think it's going to be at, the sound will be phenomenal. It'll be good. It'll just be a matter of making sure these stems are as dynamic as they possibly can be, which won't be particularly like difficult, but it won't be necessarily just like an easy slap on this and then it's a day. I'm definitely going to have to use my ears. But yeah, luckily we got, at least we can say we have the performance tracks pretty much ready, because I found them one, and then I'm gonna be able to send them tonight. Cowboy, I don't know if I'm gonna get the stem. That one's gonna be a tricky track, because that track is fun, but I really don't know where the stems are for that track. So me and Bogus will have to figure out what to do with that track. And then let's see, once that's Gucci, then we're really just worrying about figuring out, making some music, making some tracks, and let's see. I think another thing I'm going to try and knock out today too, because since we're going to be streaming this and cooking up loops later, I'm considering also using the cook-up time to sort of mix that in with the guitar practicing time. So yeah, since today is predominantly a music day, we're just going to focus on one of these guys. I'm going to do... I might end the day on figuring out this lead magnet generation model, which I kind of already have. I just got to figure out how I'm going to implement it and how I'm going to make it like my job. Because to me, this should be my job. My job should be acquiring clients and selling to clients and getting mixing and mastering clientele in. That's like my job. That should be my job. Selling. I should be selling. I should be talking to people every day about what I do and how I can help them solve their problems. And using these things as a solution, which what I can do too, another thing I can do today is go with the Greenhouse Verified course, because, or like polish that up, which I do have the rough outline version and the detailed notes version. So that's probably going to be another thing I can do today on top of just cooking up loops and then working on guitar stuff. So yeah, that's honestly really what I'm going to hold myself to. Working on guitar stuff, making loops, and then look at the course. Not even like go through the website and the pitch deck. Like just literally just go through the course. trying to think what else is there. I feel that's really it. Yeah, that's really all it for today. And tomorrow I'm going to predominantly focus on editing unless I'm needed for something else, which... Yeah, honestly, yeah. Tomorrow I should be able to actually get up back on editing. Because there's nothing really going to hold me back anymore. Which is going to be dope. Let's see, yeah. If anything, tomorrow, Wednesday, we should be able to not only like knock out an episode or two of the... Probably just one episode. Like if I get the first episode or third episode done really well with the Let's Play, then I should be fine. But as far as education is concerned, I should be able to at least figure out... Because today I'm going to touch up this course, pre-production course, a little bit. So tomorrow, on top of doing editing for the gaming, I think I'll look at least what I got for the pitch deck and the website and kind of go from there. And then also, too... Ooh, that's it. Okay. I know it's... Hold up. I'm such an idiot. Cool. Know exactly what I'm doing Wednesday. So today is predominantly a music day, while we're also going to be using the GMG Verified course to help with myself, because I said I'm also working on the Angry stuff. You're like, hey, you didn't work on any Angry stuff in this front half of the stream. To be honest, we're probably going to do on the second stream later tonight, because I just got to free up my time here a little bit after 6. But what's it called? I'm excited for it because we're finally moving the needle forward by actually putting in action a lot of the stuff I've been working on very hard for the past couple years to kind of figure out and itemize. So yeah, I'm just pretty excited for that. I'm pretty excited. So tomorrow is definitely going to be a gaming education day. Today is predominantly a music day. And then we'll see if we can throw in 60 minutes today to just do some 1-minute gesture drawings. I don't have that big sketchbook that I used to have because once again someone stole it. But with the composition book I have, I think we'll still be able to kind of figure it out. So yeah, honestly feeling good. Let me check in on the Ableton. Awesome. It is perfect. Everything's collect all and saved. So now the next step is just going into each of these tracks here, which I'm going to do off stream because one is just, even though I should be doing this on stream, I just want to make sure I'm available for this potential call here I'm going to have in a second. So I'm going to do this off stream so I can still get work done and also have that call separate from everything like this. But then once that's done, I may even come back on screen while doing some of this. We'll see. But yeah, more or less, that really is the docket. That is very much the docket for the day. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all for stopping by. Appreciate y'all for being considerate. And it's been your boy, Danny Bear, aka Natty, aka that nigga. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the noti bell to stay notified by all the things by which I'm going to be releasing. And stay swifty. Peace.